Alright, so I'm back with another video. It's been, I don't know, over a week since the last one, and finally got my lumber here and started building some walls. So you can see some of my lumber stacks over there, and there's a bunch more up around the corner. So that's exciting and a little bit overwhelming because now I've got to put all this together. I've got no excuses now. I got to start building, and that's what I've been doing. So you can see I'm working on a big wall here for the basement walkout. I've got another wall that I put together yesterday over here. It's still laying on the ground. I'm kind of putting these together as much as I can until I get some help to stand them up and put them in place. And they're not going to be light, especially this one. This one's got 3 of those windows in it, and I haven't even put the trying to keep it as light as possible, so I haven't even put the sill of the window, and I'll do that after it's up and just toenail the studs or whatever. But yeah, trying to get some walls built and ready to stand up, and maybe I'll get this one done today. I don't know. It's already noon, past noon. So, but you know, the figuring part takes a long time. Once you get going on it, it starts to come together pretty quick. So the figuring part's done. Now all that's left is the doing part. So yeah, I'll tell you about a little kind of panic moment that I had yesterday. And I never realized this before, but sill plates, so treated sill plates that get bolted down on your foundation. The way that the treatment is nowadays on a lot of treated lumber is like a copper solution, and you've got to use galvanized for everything that goes through that wood. So your nails, any brackets, you know, if you're building exterior decks, and this is the type of lumber that they have at the box stores, you know, like Lowe's and Home Depot. You've got to make sure you use galvanized fasteners in that stuff, because apparently the chemicals can attack untreated metal. So my issue was that why I panicked was that I have regular anchor bolts. They're not galvanized. I just put regular steel anchor bolts in my concrete. So after some interneting yesterday, I found out that 1/2-inch bolts and up are an exception to the rule by code in the IRC 2021. So that was a relief, but I still have to make sure that all of my nails that go through the treated into the studs, those need to be galvanized nails, galvanized framing nails. So I'm using a gun, so I've got all my gun nails here, and so I bought a box of galvanized 3 1/4 inches, and it's a pain in the butt because you got to keep. Well, you can use all galvanized. There's no rule that says you can't use galvanized for everything, but they're more expensive. So I keep changing out nails in my gun. You know, I have to swap them over to the galvanized every time I nail up through that treated bottom plate. Now, here's the thing that you could do, and I thought about doing. You can use borate treated bottom plate. So borate is another preservative, but it doesn't require you to use galvanized fasteners. So if I was to do this again, I would have just bought borate treated lumber in the first place for my bottom plate, my sill plate. But I had already bought these, and so I'm sort of committed to it. So I'm just going to use the galvanized nails, and then you've got to use the galvanized nails for your sheeting that attaches to the bottom plate, the sill plate, mud sill, whatever you want to call it. There's different names for it. So yeah, you got to make sure that anything that goes into that wood is galvanized. Other than apparently the anchor bolts, because there's an exception for that. Apparently they're thick enough to where, you know, they figure a little tiny bit of corrosion isn't going to hurt them. So yeah, so that was a bit of a relief, but if I could go back and do it over again, I would have gotten borate treated sill plates. And this is something that's known but not really talked about very much. I even called the inspector and asked him about it, and he's like, you know, he kind of said, yeah, we don't really pay that much attention to that. He said we pay more attention to the spacing and your washers and plates. So I've got these 3-inch plates that I've got to put under the nuts for the anchor bolts. So I've got those, and those are galvanized, so that's good. And I bought some galvanized nuts to go on top just for an extra measure. But yeah, that's a thing that kind of is like, I mean, I've been building for a while, and I never really thought about that being a problem. So, and this time I kind of popped into my head, so I sort of dug into it and learned a little bit. So yeah, on my upper walls, which are just getting the joists, so it's the same the copper treated lumber. I can't remember the name of it, micro copper or something or other. I'll have to use galvanized nails to nail my joists to those. But yeah, so those are the kinds of problems that or just things that you run into along the way, that when you think you know what you're doing, you learn something new. What else? So yeah, finally getting some walls up. We cleaned up where the crawl space is going to be a little bit, got some rocks out of there. When I get this middle wall up, it'll be a whole lot harder to work on that, so I figured let's start on it now and get it cleaned up the best we can. So yeah, my lumber, I ended up getting my lumber from Home Depot, and it was the best price I could get. I checked with 3 different sources, one of them being a really big lumberyard source, and another one a more local lumberyard. Home Depot was by far the best, price-wise. So people talk about quality of Home Depot lumber, but I've ordered from different places, and I find their quality is perfectly acceptable. I did get the studs, my pre-cut studs, just because Home Depot carries a different type of stud material that's called whitewood, and it's not all whitewood at Home Depot. You got to check to see what they're selling. They get their stuff from different sources, and a lot of times what they stock is whitewood. So these studs came from Lowe's, which I found out has Douglas fir studs, and you can see the marking right there, D fir. And what my engineer spec'd was hem fir, which is a mixture of hemlock and different firs, which is good, but Douglas fir is actually better. So you can always do better, but you don't want to do worse. So I thought you know, Douglas fir is better than hem fir, and it's stronger and more stable, I guess. So yeah, so that meets the requirement of hem fir, because again, hem fir is hemlock and other firs. So anyway, I got those from Lowe's, and you can get Doug fir studs from Home Depot, but they're going to cost you a little bit more. They happen to be what Lowe's had stocked, so that's what I went with. I could just go and pick it up. So I picked up enough for the walkout basement framing, and then I'll have to pick up more for the upstairs. Other than that, for stud material or all my longer boards, I've got some tall walls and top and bottom plates and a lot of longer lumber. I got all that through Home Depot, which is all Douglas fir. So the vast majority of my lumber is going to be Douglas fir. What else? Yeah, so I got my I-joist material through Home Depot. They have different sources. They can get nearly anything you want. So I got my I-joist material through Home Depot, great price. They sourced it out of Denver. Place that had it right on the ground, so they could get it to me pretty quick. So I've got all that, and I've got all my OSB and all my land beams and stuff. Got from through Home Depot. So now I'm just building away. I'm going to put a Sill seal underneath my bottom plates, which is just a thin piece of foam. There's a little bit of gray area in the codes about that, whether you need treated lumber if you have a sill seal, and it's a gray area for sure. But you know, to be on the safe side, and depends on what jurisdiction you're into and what inspector you have, best to just go with a treated sill plate. There's different rules on, you know, height above grade and this and that, and rather than figure all that out and stress about it, it's nice to go with just a treated sill plate. Then once I get my floor built, then I won't need, you know, then I'm just going wood on top of wood. Then you don't need any treated after that. But going to concrete, that's best to use something treated. And I can understand it, you know, even with your siding and everything, you still have, you know, the possibility of water getting to your sill plate, you know, splashing up off the ground or whatever, getting up underneath there. So it's just a good idea. And I've seen a lot of rotted sill plates in my lifetime. So yeah, what else can I talk about? Maybe that might be it for now, until I get some walls stood up and get some joists going. I'm sure I'll think of something as soon as I shut my camera off. But for now, I think that might be it. And you know, maybe I'm making these videos for views. Maybe I'm making them for myself to document my progress. I don't know yet. But if you like my videos, or if you even see them, you know, give me a like or something, so I know that I exist. And then maybe I'll make some more. Give me some motivation here. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later.